We're spending 22 minutes today with Priyanka Chopra. I was going to list all of the ways that you're identified, but that'll take up the whole 22 minutes.
Yeah, that's too much. I think we'll stick to my real name, Priyanka Chopra. That's good.
Okay, all right, that's easy. Let's talk about Baywatch.
Yes.
Everybody's excited about the movie opening, and I had the horrible homework assignment of watching all the trailers.
Terrible job.
They're hilarious. They're racy though.
Yeah, it is. If you've been a fan of the old Baywatch, the TV show, then this movie takes the spirit of that Baywatch and wraps it up in like rated R, naughty fun. And that's that's the best explanation of this movie that I can give. It's racy, it's sassy, and it's just like, it's silly humor, you know. You go in there to watch a funny movie. That's what this is.
Right. Have a little popcorn, have a good laugh.
Have a popcorn, have a fun laugh about it for a little while, and that's it.
But there is a plot.
Of course there's a plot.
Right. So the basic premise is what? The Baywatch people have to try to crack this drug smuggling ring?
Please, it's so much more than that. I'm not a drug smuggler. No, so basically my character, Victoria Leeds, is new to this bay. This bay that, Mitch Buchanan, which is Dwayne's character, sort of oversees, and he's like the lieutenant, the guardian angel for this bay.
He's the old Hoff character.
Yes, he's Hoff's character,
Okay.
Mitch, yes. And my character, Victoria, wants to buy this bay. And these lifeguards are just a nuisance. So what she's doing is she puts drugs out so that the property prices go down and everyone sells to her so she can make this into a private club. And these lifeguards want it to be a beach. And it's like, who wants another beach? And she doesn't understand that. So that's the whole plot between these lifeguards trying to take her out. And she's just like, what she thought was an inconvenience sort of surprises her.
Right.
As it goes along.
And Victoria Leeds, it was supposed to be Victor Leeds? That was the original...
It's so much better as Victoria Leeds, don't you think?
Of course, especially with you in the role. What the heck?
Victor Leeds, there's no music to it. But yes, it was written for a man initially. It was supposed to be a male villain character.
Right.
I'm so glad they went with a woman, and that woman was me.
Yeah, and you always hear this from actors, that it's so much more fun to play the baddie, to play the villain. Why is that?
It truly is. Even in my Indian films, I've played like a villain a couple of times. This is probably my third time I'm playing a negative character. But I think in real life, most of us are trying to be good, right? Like, at least most of us try to be the best that we can be. But as a bad guy, you can just think of anything in your head, and the director is usually like, that's a great idea. Right. And it's just like, you can experiment with it so much, you can color outside the lines, and creatively it's just a lot more fun.
So you did get the chance to do that. Was some of the stuff, it looked like, you watched the trailers, and you said, this had to be a lot of fun to make this movie. Was there a lot of sort of spontaneous or improvisation?
Yes, there was a lot of improv. I think even Seth, who's our director, just likes that. He likes, actors coming in, having ideas. Like, there was this one scene in the movie where I drive in to meet the lifeguards and, invite them for this party.
I've seen this one.
Yeah, and she and Victoria, as soon as she steps out of the Jeep, somebody puts a little stool for her to stand on because it's stupid and it's
in
absurd.
the sand, right?
Yeah, in the sand, so that she doesn't have to take off her shoes. And she behaves like it's absolutely normal, but it's so stupid.
Right.
And that was an improv scene. Like, I remember Seth was like, oh, we'll just stand on the Jeep and what if we just stand? And I felt like, I'd be addressing them like a dictator or a tyrant if I was standing on the Jeep. And I was like, she should definitely get off, but she won't take off her shoes. And Seth literally found a step stool, which was plastic, on the beach. It probably belonged to some child. And he was like, what about this? And I was like, that does it. So, things like that it's just adding a little absurdity to her decadence, which, but we did a lot of improv on this movie.
That's great. Somewhere there's a little child crying for her
stool. Where did that stool go? Yeah.
Sorry, kid. That's too bad.
I'll blame it on my director.
How was the camaraderie between you and specifically The Rock and Zac Efron? They seem to have this kind of, funny buddy kind of rapport, but also kind of trying to one-up each other a little bit.
Well, I guess that's what the movie is about. The movie is really about, Zach's character coming in and telling Dwayne that, I'm all that and more, and what do you know? And so it's basically that they're competing with each other through the film, and that's the vibe of the movie.
Right.
But in real life, they get on really, really well. They have so much respect for each other. And both of them, wonderful co-actors to work with. Dwayne was also a producer on the movie. So, you know, he's someone who sets the tone. Like, he'll be one of the first people coming in, last people leaving. Has just a great sense of, you know, taking care of everyone and just engulfing everyone in his positivity. He's great to be on set with.
Right. Now, I'd heard that you actually got to meet the Hoff, and I don't know if you met Pamela Anderson, but I've seen you two have a nice little
Right.
Twitter correspondence
Yeah.
going. So you did get to have some contact with the stars of the show.
I didn't meet the Hoff when we were filming the movie. He called me, in fact, after he finished filming his bit, saying that, you know, he was really disappointed that we didn't get to meet because he loves India and he wants to do an Indian film. So you never know, we might have the Hoff in a Bollywood movie. That's what he
Wow.
said. He loved the idea of it. So you never know. We haven't been able to discuss it further. But listen, I'd like to see that happen.
I could see that. I could see that, yeah.
I wonder what it would be, though.
I don't know, you got to come up with a plot for that. Now,
Yeah.
you watched the show, right, as a kid growing up?
Yeah, I mean, I was really young. I must have been 6 or 7. It was my mom's favorite show, and I remember she used to, like, when the music came on, we would dash to the couch, and that would be our time, and it almost became our tradition. We'd watch it together.
That's great. Did you dash in slow-mo over to the television?
I mean, there was a lot of slow motion involved, I must say, especially when I was a kid. I used to come out of the bathroom in slow motion, too. I wrap my towel around me in slow motion. I guess I became an Indian actor.
You were a natural for
Yeah.
being an actress and for being
Yeah.
in this role ultimately. So your mom was the one, right, to enter you in beauty pageants? Was that sort of how things got started for you?
I was studying to be, I guess, an engineer. I wanted to, you know, be an aeronautical engineer, build planes in NASA. And I was that Indian girl, you know, that the stereotype of the smart girl in class. And I left America and I went back to India when I was about 16. And I was taking, you know, those mall shots, like soft focus, like glamour shots.
Yes.
With like
Yes.
your hand here and those pictures for, I wanted like a mug shots for a scholarship program, and the photographer was just like, "You're really pretty. Can I take some more pictures?" And for a teenage girl, that's a great, you know, boost to her ego. And I was like, "Sure, please." And those soft focus, really bad glamour shots, my mom at that time thought were great, and just sent it in as a joke to Miss India. I got selected for it. I won the pageant. I'd never modeled before. I'd never had an aspiration for it. And when you win Miss India, you're sent in for the international pageants like Miss Universe and Miss World.
Right.
I was sent for Miss World, and I won that. And movie producers started, you know, offering movies to me because I guess it made business sense to have Miss World in a movie.
Right.
And in my first few movies, I won a bunch of awards, and I thought, I guess I figured out that I liked this, and it was a profession I wanted to pursue, and that's how it happened.
Wow. I was going to ask if you entered the pageants with an eye toward, okay, this could be my ticket to Bollywood.
I actually didn't.
It just happened.
The pageant definitely just happened.
Yeah.
I went there to skip my exams. We have these big exams in 12th grade called the board exams in India, and I was just like, oh, I get to skip them because the pageant was the same time. And I never, in my wildest dreams, had thought that I would win or I'd be an actor or any such thing. Wow. I'm just glad destiny pushed me in that way. I always say I'm Destiny's other favorite child after Beyonce. You know, I'm sort of like pushed in the right direction, and then I work really hard at it.
You have a mall headshot to thank
Yeah,
for
to
all
here.
of this. So you become this huge star in Bollywood.
Right.
And when you're a big star in Bollywood, is there still the thought that I want to conquer Hollywood, or is it enough to be a big Bollywood star?
Yeah, it's absolutely enough. I actually don't even like the word Bollywood very much because it makes us sound like we're a Me Too of Hollywood, which we're not. And Bollywood's not even a place. Hollywood's a real city on a map. Bollywood's just
It was just a name
theme
made up.
It's
to
not
kind
even.
of-
It's
yeah.
a theme actually. It's not even a real name. But the Indian film industry is one of the most prolific film industries. We make about 1,000 movies a year, and I was extremely happy doing. And I still am. I still continue to do Indian films, and I will as long as people want to watch me. But I don't think they're mutually exclusive. And as an artist, I think English and Hindi both were my first languages. And when I got work that was offered to me from America, I was like, you know, that's interesting. I want to be able to push myself as an actor. And, you know, that's how America happened. And I'm just someone who has a pursuit for excellence. So wherever you put me, I will learn. And I'm not afraid of, you know, learning new things. And that's what America was for me. So it wasn't like I set out to say I want to conquer Hollywood or I want to conquer the world. I just want to push myself as an artist in wherever that takes me.
Right, and it did take you to landing a big network
Yes.
television show,
Yes.
Quantico. Now you're getting a
Yes,
third
we have a
season,
third
right?
season,
Yeah. By the
yes.
way, was that ever in doubt, or you knew? You knew
I mean,
it was
I
gonna be
kind of
season
knew.
3? Yeah.
I couldn't be like super overconfident about it. Of
Yeah.
course, when I talked about it, I couldn't be like, yeah, of course, we're getting a season 3. In my heart, I was, but I couldn't say it. But the show has got so much love from around the world and America itself that I'm really happy we're back for a third season. There are a lot of new plot points that are being added and moved around, so it'll be super exciting.
And your character's not going to be the new FBI director. I understand there was some
I should be.
joke.
Listen, at this stage, I could be. Alex Parrish would be a really good person to put into that mold, I think.
Right.
A lot of people were tweeting about it. I'm not American, so Priyanka can't do it.
What kind of FBI director would she be?
She's a hero, you know. She's someone who would, not to the pleasure of too many people around, but she would, you know, look for the truth, I think.
Yeah. Okay. So you have the series. You
Yes.
have Baywatch coming
Yes.
out. And what happens next in the movie career? I've also read about rumors of MI6, Mission Impossible. Is that happening, or is it something you can't talk about? Or?
I've heard a lot of rumors flying around about so many things, and it's really flattering, you guys. It's great that I'm doing like 5 movies. But we just found out about season 3, so I'm waiting to see when we start filming that, because everything about scheduling sort of depends on that.
Right. Where do you guys film?
New York.
Quantico?
We film
Oh, right
in
here.
New York,
Okay.
yeah, which is great
Yeah.
because I have access to the whole world. But yeah, I am looking at I've shortlisted a bunch of films here and in India, and I hope to be able to do all of them. We have a shorter season this year, so I should be able to, you know, manage TV and movies.
And you have one coming out with Jim Parsons and Claire Danes?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
That's still.
We're like I
still
said,
future.
we're in conversations about a bunch of films.
What's it like filming here in New York? How do you like being in New York?
I love New York City. I mean, I went to school in New York City for about 8-9 months. This was in Queens.
I was going to ask you about that.
Flushing, Queens. And the school was called Robert F. Kennedy. And yeah, so New York was like a very imperative part of my upbringing as a kid here. Like it made me global and made me like understand that the world is a melting pot of just different people.
Yeah, yeah. How is it different being a star in India? Obviously, you had a lot of many years of experience with that. I mean, not many years. You're still obviously very young. You come to America. You have a network TV show now. You're doing Hollywood movies. Is fame different here in the States?
I mean, I guess I've been a public person for such a long time that I'm aware of the fact that people are always aware of me. And India, like Indian movies have such a huge demographic in America as well. Like there's such a huge population of people who like Indian movies and watch our films that like I always had that notoriety, I guess, whenever I came to America. But with Quantico being such a household sort of show, the TSA loves me. That was new.
Oh, really?
The TSA loves me. It's great.
When you
Like,
go to the airport?
yeah,
they-
whenever I'm flying out, they're just like, Alex Parrish, who's the terrorist this season? And I'm like, yeah, you guys, I'm just pretending to be
Did
law
they let you get
enforcement.
by?
Yeah, I mean, they're always careful.
Let you keep your shoes
But
on.
like the cops and like law enforcement and stuff, they really love me. That part of fame, I guess I never enjoyed.
Yeah, that's nice though.
It's great.
Yeah, yeah.
But I've had a lot of, I mean, the only difference that I've maybe acknowledged in a big way or noticed is the paparazzi is a bit intense here.
In the US.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a little intense. It's like, you know, zoom lenses inside your houses and stuff.
Yeah, there are cameras everywhere nowadays.
Yeah.
That is for sure. Tell us a little bit about. I thought this was so interesting that you grew up as an army brat.
Yes.
Right? Your parents were both army
Yes,
doctors,
they were.
and you got to go on sort of the front lines with them, and that led to some of your current philanthropy.
Well, my parents were very philanthropic anyway. And my dad and mom, they were both in the army, and yeah, I traveled every 2 years and moved around with them. And I remember after my dad retired, and he took early retirement, he set up a clinic, a hospital. And I remember we used to take the ambulance, me, my mom. My mom's an OBGYN, she's a gynecologist. My mom, a pharmacist, my dad, who's a surgeon, and we used to drive into these villages, and my parents would treat people, you know, who don't come to hospitals or can't afford it. And so, and my job was as assistant pharmacist at 8 or 9 to count how many pills go into each, each envelope that we give to the patients. And I took my job really seriously. But I guess that always made me very socially aware and felt, and I really do feel that on all of us as privileged members of society, I mean, look at how much we have. Right. And it is totally on us to be aware of, you know, people who don't have the privilege that we do. So that's something I've always been very conscientious of.
You wrote an op-ed piece for the New York Times in 2014.
Yes, I did.
And what I guess I would really suggest whoever's watching this to go and Google that and read it. It's really remarkable. I'm wondering if you think that perhaps in countries or cultures where girls are not as valued as boys and are marginalized in different ways, do you see that changing at
I feel
all?
like that's a global problem, you know, Bridget, right now. And that's not, yes, there are some countries where women are, you know, aggressively told that you don't matter. But it's just as bad where it's passively told that you don't matter, too. And that's a global problem. Women for eons have been told that we're second-class citizens, that, you know, that's for a boy to do. Why you asked for it? And if she's wearing a short skirt, she asked for it. Like things that you hear in the society that you and I live in, too. Mm-hmm. And I do feel that, like, there's a fight for feminism which is lending itself to change, but it's going to take a really long time. The fight for feminism needs men, and for people to realize that feminists are not people bad, you know, men berating, man-hating women. They're just women who are saying, give us the opportunity to take our decisions without being judged, just like men have for so many years. We just don't want to be judged when we decide to do things on our own. Give us decision-making abilities. And so I think it's a long road ahead, but we're getting there. We have to fight for ourselves, otherwise no one else will.
Oh, Priyanka Chopra, thank you so much for spending 22 minutes with us today. What a pleasure.
It really was.
Thank you.